Welcome to episode 398, where I will be sharing helpful Ayurvedic insights and practical tools to assist you in balancing the Pitta Dosha throughout the summer. Whether you naturally tend towards a fiery disposition or simply feeling the summer heat, you'll discover effective ways to maintain coolness, calmness, and overall balance during these warmer months. So please stay tuned. Hi there, I'm your host Colette, and on this podcast I will be sharing the teachings of Ayurveda, yoga, and holistic health practices. Now, if you're new to Ayurveda, I recommend checking out the first couple of episodes where I do an introduction to Ayurveda and the mind-body types. Thanks for listening, and now here's a new episode. Hello and welcome back to the Elements of Ayurveda podcast. It's Colette today for a solo episode talking about how to maintain balance during the summer months, those hot months when the Pitta Dosha can become aggravated. And I've lived through this because my natural constitution is Pitta Kapha. And in my earlier, more naive days before I discovered Ayurveda, my Pitta Dosha would absolutely spiral out of control in the summertime. At the time, I had no idea what was happening. And back in 2009, when I first moved to France, I was working as a personal trainer and yoga teacher. And I was also heavily into triathlons and road biking, competing in race after race, especially during the hot summer months. And my Irish blood was not built for those scorching Mediterranean temperatures. And for work, I'd be riding my scooter from Monaco to Cannes, training clients outdoors under the blazing sun. Then at lunchtime, I thought it was a great idea to hit the track for my own workouts, the hottest time of the day. My workouts were intense and my personal training routine was just as fiery. I pushed and pushed, wondering why I wasn't feeling good. And the signs were there, physically, mentally, emotionally, that my Pitta Dosha was completely on fire. By June 2010, after completing the Ironman in the extreme heat of the Nice promenade, my body was in full burnout mode. And I remember going to my acupuncturist after the Ironman and him saying to me that your chi is completely depleted. And he was right. But, I didn't stop. My Pitta Dosha continued to run the show and was focused on driving forward with intensity. And it was a couple more years before my body said enough. And that's when I went to Bali and started my journey with Ayurveda, which I talked about in detail in episode number 5. Now, since then, Ayurveda has taught me so much. Looking back, it all makes sense. I think many of us have this same experience when we discover Ayurveda. It feels like finally receiving the manual to life we never got. How to live, to eat, to move, and to rest in a way that honors your unique constitution and preventing imbalance. That experience was a powerful turning point for me, both personally and professionally. And one of the reasons I'm so passionate about sharing Ayurveda in this podcast and helping others understand how to live in alignment with the seasons and their doshic constitution. Summer, with all its brightness and intensity, is a time when Pitta can easily go out of balance, even for those who don't have a Pitta constitution. And when we don't know the signs or we ignore them, it can lead to everything from digestive issues and skin flare-ups to burnout, irritability, and emotional overload. So in today's episode, I'm going to share some of the most supportive Ayurvedic insights and tools to help you manage Pitta during the summer months. Whether you're naturally fiery or just feeling the heat of the season, you'll come away with practical ways to stay cool, calm, and balanced all summer long. So let's begin with taking a deeper look at the nature of Pitta Dosha, so we can better understand how and why it gets imbalanced during summertime. Pitta is made up of the elements of fire and water, and fire is the dominant force here. It brings transformation and heat and intensity. The water element, though secondary, helps give Pitta its fluidity, allowing it to move and spread throughout the body. Think of Pitta like acid or bile, a hot, sharp, and flowing substance that plays a powerful role in transformation. Every dosha expresses itself through certain qualities or gunas. Pitta's main qualities include hot, it brings heat to the digestion, skin, and emotions. Sharp, linked to intellect, speech, and the enzymes that break down our food. Light, not heavy like kapha, but more intense and penetrating. Oily, Pitta can be slightly moist, giving skin a natural glow or even excess oil. And mobile or spreading, when aggravated, Pitta can spread quickly. Think of rashes, inflammation, or even emotionally when the anger rises very quickly. Understanding these qualities is key because remember, like increases like. And when you add summer heat to Pitta's naturally hot and sharp nature, you risk tipping into imbalance. Pitta is primarily located in the small intestine where the bulk of digestion and absorption happens, in the blood, which carries the heat and nutrients throughout the body. The eyes are the organ of Pitta. Sight and perception are ruled by the fire element. And the skin, where heat is often expressed externally, like rashes or acne. When Pitta builds up, these sites are often the first to show signs, whether it's acid reflux, inflammation, or sensitivity to light. Pitta's role is transformational. It governs digestion via the Agni, the digestive power. Pitta powers our ability to digest food and extract nourishment through metabolism at all levels, physically, hormonally, and cellularly. Pitta keeps things converting efficiently. Through perception and vision, both literal sight and inner vision, like insight and clarity of thought, and discernment and intelligence, Pitta helps us make decisions, analyze, and focus. So while Pitta is absolutely essential for our vitality and sharpness, when it's pushed too far, especially by external heat or internal pressure, it can turn from beneficial fire into destructive flame. Now that we've explored the nature of Pitta, let's talk about what happens during those hot months of summer and why it's considered Pitta season in Ayurveda. One of Ayurveda's most foundational principles is simple but powerful. Like increases like, and opposites bring balance. Since Pitta is primarily hot, sharp, and light, the same qualities naturally found in the summer season will amplify Pitta in the body and mind. Think about the nature of summer. The weather is hot and bright, the sun is intense or sharp, especially at midday, and the days are long and light. All of these are like qualities. And so if you have a high Pitta constitution or simply living in a way that stimulates those qualities, like intense schedules, spicy food, or living in a hot climate, it's easy to go from balance to imbalance without even realizing it. Summer Pitta imbalance can show up in many different ways, and not just physically. But here are some of the common signs to look out for. Overheating or excessive sweating. Skin issues like rashes, acne, hives, or sun sensitivity. Acid reflux or hyperacidity. Inflammation in the joints or tissues. Red, bloodshot, burning eyes. Headaches, which are sharp and intense, and they may be around the eye area or the temples. Loose stools or urgent bowel movements. Mentally and emotionally, a Pitta imbalance can show up in irritability, frustration, or short temper. Judgmental thoughts, impatience, or perfectionism. Feeling overly competitive or critical. And burnout from overworking or overcommitting. Even if someone isn't a Pitta type by constitution, the energy of summer can still stir up those tendencies. It's not about who you are on paper. It's about what's happening right now in your body, environment, and lifestyle. So much of Ayurveda is about living in rhythm with nature. When the outer environment heats up, our inner fire is naturally impacted. If we're not paying attention, it's easy to slip into patterns that feed that fire, like eating spicy food, exercising in the intense heat in the middle of the day, or maintaining a packed schedule with no rest time. But the good news is when we have awareness and we understand this dynamic, we can make small intentional shifts to stay balanced and prevent this aggravation of Pitta. Ayurveda gives us the tools to cool, ground, and soothe the fire of Pitta so we can feel energized and clear without tipping into burnout, inflammation, or becoming fired up emotionally. So let's look at some of the dietary guidelines for Pitta during the hot months. When it comes to managing Pitta, food is one of our most powerful allies. What we eat and how we eat can either stoke the internal fire or help calm and cool Pitta. In summer, the goal is to reduce heat and inflammation. Keep the digestive fire steady without overburdening it, and favor foods that are hydrating, soothing, cooling, and rich in the right tastes. So I'm going to take you through some guidelines. However, this information is general advice. And please remember that it's best to have information that's tailored to your unique constitution or prakriti, and most importantly, your current health status or vikriti. And I offer online consultations. If you want tailored advice, please check out my website, elementshealingandwellbeing.com, and I'll put a link to that in the show notes also. So in Ayurveda, we balance a dosha by bringing in its opposite qualities. For Pitta, that means choosing foods that are cooling versus hot, that are mild or bland versus sharp and intense, that are alkaline versus acidic and fermented, and that have less oil. So we want to avoid the fried foods. And pacifying tastes for Pitta are sweet, bitter, and astringent. Some great summer-friendly Pitta-pacifying foods you'll find are in season. So as always, I suggest going to your local farmer's market. What's in season is abundant and cheap, and it just tells you exactly what to buy. But you'll find a lot of sweet fruits, melons, pears, grapes, mangoes, cherries, and coconut. And it's important to choose sweet fruits rather than sour fruits like berries, because the sour taste can aggravate Pitta. But choosing those naturally sweet, abundant summer fruits is a great way to start pacifying Pitta. Also, veggies that have natural cooling qualities like cucumbers, zucchini, asparagus, celery, broccoli, and bitter leafy greens, as the bitter taste also pacifies Pitta. Grains that are pacifying for Pitta are basmati rice, oats, quinoa, amaranth, and barley, to name a few. Proteins that are beneficial for Pitta are small amounts of animal protein like fresh fish, chicken, or turkey. Egg whites are great. The egg yolk is considered intense and in excess may aggravate Pitta, so just be aware of that. But also things like mung dal, tofu, legumes are also beneficial proteins for Pitta. And when it comes to dairy, organic cow or goat's milk is great, and best to stick with the unsalted varieties of cheese and butter. Yogurts can be sour, and the sour taste does aggravate Pitta, as I mentioned earlier. So you would be better off choosing something like a coconut yogurt, which has that natural cooling quality, and that would be ideal for the summer months. And then oils, coconut oil is great, ghee, olive oil, sunflower oil, and avocado oil. These are all ideal for the Pitta dosha. There are some particularly helpful herbs and spices to pacify Pitta. Pitta doesn't need heavily spiced foods, and obviously most spices are heating, so we have to be careful. So you want to opt for gentle digestive herbs that cool and calm, like cilantro or coriander, fennel, mint, cardamom, and turmeric. Now, turmeric is warming, but its astringent taste is pacifying for Pitta, and it has anti-inflammatory qualities. So the best thing here with turmeric is to use in small amounts, at the most half a teaspoon per day. And you could try some simple cooling teas like the famous CCF tea in Ayurveda, which is the cumin, coriander, and fennel tea. Hibiscus, rose, chamomile, sweet berry tea, and dandelion is great because it has a bitter taste. And this can be a really good coffee alternative. Coconut water is cooling, and it's really great because it helps to replace lost electrolytes during that summer heat when Pitta tends to sweat a lot. And now let's take a look at the foods which can aggravate Pitta and are best limited during the summer months. So this would be like spicy foods, hot chilies, cayenne, garlic, raw onions, sour and fermented foods like pickles, vinegar, kombucha, aged cheeses, and dairy yogurts, salty or overly salted snacks, fried and greasy foods, and nightshades like tomatoes, peppers, eggplant, and white potatoes. And alcohol, due to its acidic nature, particularly red wine, whiskey, those really hard liquors, and caffeinated beverages because they intensify the heat and the acidity as well. And remember, how you eat is just as important as what you eat. It's really important to eat in a calm environment, avoiding multitasking, and leave a little space in your stomach for digestion to work smoothly. This episode is sponsored by Kerala Ayurveda Academy, training professionals in traditional root-level healing. If today's conversation on managing Pitta resonated, Kerala Ayurveda Academy's curriculum is designed to help you deepen that knowledge and bring it into practice. Their holistic Ayurvedic coach and health counselor certifications focus on clinical application, including seasonal protocols, mind-body therapies, and Pitta-specific case management. To learn more or enroll, visit keralaayurveda.us/academy. Use the code ELEMENTS100 for $100 off tuition. That's ELEMENTS100. And you can find all that information in the show notes. And just like our food choices, the way we live, move, and rest can either aggravate or pacify Pitta, especially during the hot months when the external heat reflects and amplifies our inner fire. Ayurveda reminds us that aligning with nature's rhythms isn't just about diet. It's about the full holistic picture of how we spend our energy each day. I'm going to now look at some supportive lifestyle shifts to help Pitta types or anyone feeling overheated stay cool, centered, and vibrant during those hot months. So the first thing is to slow down the pace because Pitta is naturally driven, focused, and achievement oriented. But in summer, that intensity can lead to burnout and irritability. So let go of the need to overdo and aim for steady productivity without pushing or overscheduling yourself. And build in intentional pauses throughout your day. For example, having a real lunch break, eating in a calm environment, taking a short stroll after lunch, or if it's too hot outside, take time to sit and sip on a mint tea, time to relax before going back to work. And also putting up boundaries, say no when you need to. Pitta has lots of a drive and ambition, but remember, rest is productive too. It's also important to adjust your daily self-care practices and routine, your dinacharya, which can be modified to align with the heat of the season. So it's ideal to wake up early. That's usually not a problem for Pitta types, but waking up before sunrise, even 5:30 to 6:30 a.m., when it's cooler, and do your exercise at this time. And avoiding exercising in the Pitta time between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. when the heat is usually intense around that time as well. Taking a cool shower or splash the face and feet with cool water throughout the day when needed. And embrace a short afternoon rest or siesta, which is a very Pitta soothing practice, especially when the sun is high in the sky. And just be mindful not to nap straight after lunch. Wait at least 90 minutes so you don't interrupt the digestive process. And build in cooling daily rituals like abhyanga with coconut oil. Do this in the morning before a cool shower, or maybe it's a foot massage at night with coconut oil to release any stored heat. Just be mindful to always wash off the oil after your massage so it does not create a heat trap in the body. Misting your face with rose water or a cucumber hydrosol throughout the day is really lovely during the heat of summer, and even better if you store it in the fridge. Really refreshing. And diffuse or wear calming essential oils like sandalwood, rose, vetiver, or lavender. I mentioned exercising in the early morning, and it's really important to modify your movement. We know that Pitta loves intensity and tend to be competitive. So it's really important to balance the fire with movement that is grounding, fluid, and cooling. So, for example, if doing cardio or strength training, try to work out, as I suggested, in the early morning time when it's the coolest part of the day. And allow yourself to take a break from intense workouts during the very hot months. It's a great time to, modify your workout routines. It's always good to change up your workout routines. So, for example, in summer, instead of running in the heat, you could do aqua jogging in water. You're using the same muscles and you have the density of the water providing the resistance. And of course, it's naturally cooling. So that's a great way to adjust a workout so it's not overheating and too intense for you during the hot months. For your yoga practice, it's best to opt for a yin or restorative or gentle flow rather than the dynamic power yoga, and definitely not the hot yoga, which will just really fire you up. And incorporating forward folds, gentle twists, and heart openers in your yoga to release that heat and tension. And we really need to manage Pitta's mental heat because it can be just as intense as its physical heat. And in summer, Pitta types are more prone to perfectionism, irritation, and impatience. So it's really important to carve out non-doing time. Watch the clouds, walk barefoot on the grass or in the water, or just lie under a tree. For me, at the end of a workout in the water at summertime, I just lay on my back and look up at the clouds. Allow yourself to just be. Really important. Practice cooling breath work like Shitali pranayam, which I detailed that practice in episode 396, where I talked about emotional alchemy. So if you're not familiar with the Shitali practice, please check that out because it can be very efficient for cooling Pitta. And it's really important to process those heated emotions by journaling or reflecting on them without judgment and letting go of the internal pressure to be on all the time. Prioritize play and fun. This is really potent medicine for overactive Pitta mind. Give yourself permission to plan activities without purpose that are just for the joy of doing them. So as we wrap up this exploration of Pitta and summertime living, I hope you're feeling more equipped and more inspired to honor your inner balance in a season that can be as intense as it is beautiful. Pitta is the dosha of transformation, vision, and purpose. When it's in balance, we feel sharp, energized, and alive with possibility. But when it's pushed too far, that same fire can burn us out physically, mentally, and emotionally. The wisdom of Ayurveda doesn't ask us to stop living or hide away from the sun. It simply invites us to live in rhythm, to soften where we're sharp, to cool what's overheated, and to create space for nourishment and rest. So take this as a reminder to slow down, to favor what soothes you, to rise early, sip a fresh mint tea, taking breaks to pause during your day, breathing deeply, and say no when your inner fire needs time to just flicker gently instead of being a roaring fire. This season is an invitation to soften, release, and receive. When we allow ourselves to step off the accelerator, we often find greater clarity, creativity, and joy. I know it's out of character for Pitta types, but how about experimenting this summer and see for yourself how it feels? And I'd love to hear what practices you're leaning into this summer, and feel free to share in the podcast community or message me on Instagram at Elements of Ayurveda Podcast. You could also share this episode with a friend who runs hot in more ways than one. And if you want support and an approach tailored to you to take the guesswork out of all of this, well, then check out my online services. As I mentioned earlier, I have online consultations which are focused on healing, education, and empowerment. I give food lists, tailored meal plan, tailored lifestyle, tailored morning and evening routines, and I really adjust the information to you and your lifestyle. I also have my daily habits for holistic health program. This is ideal if you like to study by yourself because it's a 28-day self-paced program with the objective to help you live in tune with those circadian rhythms and educates you on how to become your own healer. And I have my digestive reset cleanse, which comes with a 90-minute online consultation with me so I can tailor the holistic cleanse program to you and your lifestyle. The next discounted group cleanse starts October 3rd. I also offer this program in a private format where I support you one-to-one. So that's available. And I combine all my online services in my Reset, Restore, Renew program. I do have a comparison chart on my website where you can see what you get with each offering and you can decide what works best for you. But also you can call me before you book. Take advantage of my free 15-minute online services inquiry call. We can hop online and I can answer all of your questions. So I hope you found this episode helpful. And as I said, please share it with others so we can spread this wisdom of Ayurveda. And if you haven't already subscribed or followed the podcast, please do so. And the new weekly episodes would automatically download for you. Please come join me on social media. On Instagram, it's Elements of Ayurveda Podcast. And Facebook, it's Elements Healing and Wellbeing. And I also have the Elements of Ayurveda Podcast community, which I mentioned earlier. So I'll put that link in the show notes also. And thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, take good care of yourself, be well, and bye for now. Slán go fóill.